or for making this video. I look a lot worse up here than I did downstairs. The lighting's a lot better, so you can see this huge, huge bruise I have. Yes, I fell, and I don't want to say it's Sammy's fault, but if I hadn't been walking her, I wouldn't have fallen. As you age, falls become more and more of a concern, especially for women. I have made several videos about that topic and said how women fall more often than men, and falls can lead to deaths. My mother started falling about my age. My mother-in-law fell. My father fell at the end of his life as his cancer spread to his brain. And I've known of many women who fall. So Sammy's been getting a little bit wild. She has a lot of energy, and I thought, I need to walk her. And we weren't walking her daily because Steve has a new schedule and he's tired. He's tired because now he's doing a physical job after he lost his job in July, the first work day after the BBB passed. He lost his job. Luckily, he found another job because we desperately needed health insurance for me. But the job is physical and he's tired. So I asked him if he wanted to walk with me. And he said no. Plus he hurts. He hurts from his physical job. So I went ahead and I mentioned putting Sammy in her stroller and pushing her because she's been getting out of control. And he said, no, she needs to walk too because that's why she's out of control, because she's not getting exercise. So when a plane crashes, they often say it's typically about 5 errors that happen. It's not just one thing that causes a plane to crash. And that was about what happened to me when I fell. I was close to home. And most car accidents happen within 3 miles of your home. I think it may be more that you relax and think, well, I'm home, and just don't pay attention or relax. I was preoccupied, I'll admit that, because it was the anniversary of my father's death. So of course that was in the back of my head. So I thought I need to get out. Every day there's some disaster that's in the news that we're losing one more safety net, or food is going to be more and more expensive. There's more tariffs. There's tariffs on medications. You're going to be lucky if you could get healthcare. I mean, we actually feel fortunate that we could get it with Steve's new job. And that's the pure reason he took the new job, as it barely pays. We kid that he actually has to pay them to work there just so we could get healthcare. So I was preoccupied. And I was walking between a section in the neighborhood that goes from old to new. So the old section doesn't have sidewalks and the new section does. So the new section has curbing and sidewalks. And I know the curb is there. And ironically, where this curb is, there's a metal pole sticking out, which I've always been afraid that I might trip on that pole. But what happened is, we were walking at a good clip. With Steve, it takes 20 minutes plus to walk a mile. He's a lot slower. And with Sierra, if I walk our 14-year-old dog, Sierra and I can walk a mile in maybe 16, 17 minutes. Sammy is maybe 18, 19, but we were walking and I thought, wow, we're doing a good clip. We're going at a fast pace, and I'm going to get a long walk in today. I haven't had a really long walk in a while. The weather finally broke. It was finally cooler. So we got to the section where the curb was. I know the curb's there, but I was wearing my Hoka shoes that Steve thought were safer, that they were wider and safer. Now, my sister fell wearing these playing pickleball. These are bigger and bulkier. And so when I got up to the curb, I saw the curb, but I think the front of my feet kind of locked. And also this particular curb, I don't think is in code. I've always believed that it's higher than a standard curb. So I got up to the curb and I just remember saying to Sammy, come on. She jumped up. And I don't know what happened next. I think she jerked me, which she often does. She often pulls me, and I think my feet got locked onto the curb. and I fell straight down. And I never saw it coming. I never saw it coming. It happened so quickly that I didn't put my hands out at all. And my glasses, I was wearing my glasses, and that was another thing. My contacts are different, where I have a left lens for reading and a right one for distance. So your brain adapts to this, and my glasses are not the same. So I'm wondering if that also contributed, because my glasses are the progressive lenses, and I'm thinking maybe I did misjudge the curb, although I've never fallen any other time I walked there. I think maybe the shoes, the glasses, Sammi being preoccupied, maybe altogether it contributed. So when I fell, I instantly saw I broke my glasses. The right arm broke off. They weren't scratched, they were dirty, and I fell on my cheek here, and I think it hurt a little bit. I was just shocked, so I just sat on the curb. The funny thing is, Sammi didn't make a peep, didn't bark, didn't cry, didn't whimper. And the other thing is, I had a poop bag in my left hand. She poops instantly, and I threw that. I always have to bring 2 bags. She pooped instantly, and I threw it out, and I had her second poop bag in my left hand and her leash in my right hand. And when I fell, they were still in both hands. I did not let go. My phone, my watch was going crazy because it was alerting me they were calling 911 because I fell. I was trying to figure out how to shut that off, and I couldn't read because my glasses were covered in dirt, and I was trying to figure out how to shut it off. She didn't peep one bit. I didn't even pay attention to I still had her leash because I have it wrapped tightly around my hand, which is probably a mistake because maybe I would have let her go. I don't know. It happened so quickly. So I figured out how to shut the phone off, shut my watch off, and I called Steve and said, I fell, come over here right now, because I had always heard about head injuries. I've had a few, and I've heard how serious they are and how you could have a concussion. Although I didn't hit my head per se, I hit the front of my face. I was just concerned about a head injury. Well, I wasn't dizzy and my head didn't hurt, and that was a miracle in itself. So a couple had seen me fall. They were a good distance away, and our neighborhood is primarily Indian, and they have many social events. They are friends with each other. They're friendly enough to us, but it's kind of a hard group to become friends with because they are so social among their own group. But they came over. They didn't run. They were probably older than me, and they saw me from probably at least a quarter of a mile away, and they came over and they asked if I was okay, and I was like, well, yeah. I was still shocked. I didn't really say much. I said yes, and I called my husband, and he's coming, and the man said, I saw you fall from way over there, and we walked over to make sure you were okay. And I was like, that just touched me so much in this world of division, that they did that they walked over to check on me, because everybody is so cruel today. And that is one reason I was walking, was to forget the cruelty in our country, to forget how divided we are, how everybody hates everybody. And they walked over and were willing to help me. And then the woman said, do you want me to help you stand up? And I said, no, because instinctively, I always think when you fall, you should just sit there for a minute to get your blood pressure back to normal. Sammi never barked at them, which was funny because she barks at everybody. She knew that they were helping, right, Sammi? Right, Sammi? She knew they were helping. She never whimpered, barked. I still had her leash in my hand the whole time that I called Steve. And I thought, I was wearing one of my Be Kind shirts in huge letters that said, Be Kind. And I wear them pretty much every day now because it's like we need to be reminded. We need to be reminded on a daily basis just to be human beings again. Just to be kind. So Steve took a little while to get over there. And he just looked at me because I had dirt all over my glasses, and it was all crooked, so I couldn't see. And I had cut my cheek. I didn't realize I had cut my cheek open. But I didn't hurt. My head didn't hurt at all. I was so grateful my head didn't hurt. Now I didn't know. Do I go to the doctor? I'm like, last year when I went to the emergency room, it was $8,000 for 4 hours. And I told myself then, I said, I'm not going to bankrupt us going to the ER again. So I said, no, I mean, I know head injuries are serious. They're serious. And a lot of people think they're okay and die later in their sleep because they have internal bleeding in their head. When I was pregnant, I fainted the whole first trimester with both of my pregnancies and slammed my head. I always fell backwards because I wasn't tripping. So I slammed the back of my head every time I fainted. And I did have a doctor, and I did talk to him about it, and he said, some women faint. I was like, what do you want me to do about it? Never suggested getting any treatment or doing anything. But Steve demanded an MRI when I was pregnant, which I felt guilty getting one, but the doctor wasn't doing anything. To be repeatedly fainting and not know if you're gonna die one of these times when you faint. Well, the guy who gave me the MRI was nervous giving a pregnant woman an MRI, but he put a magnetic shield under me and over me to protect my stomach. And they didn't find anything. I mean, yes, some women do faint when they're pregnant, but there was no advice like, oh, sit up for 10 seconds or drink more water. Maybe you're getting dehydrated, or maybe it's a blood pressure thing. There was no advice, nothing. And I only fainted when I was pregnant. Never before, never after. So obviously it was pregnancy related, but I don't know. I always think in the back of my head, slamming your head on the ground so many times, is that here's she like football players who get so many concussions. I mean, technically they didn't say I had concussions, but who knows? Because women don't get the same treatment as men in the medical field, especially pregnant women. As we see all of our maternity wards closing with all these cutbacks and babies being pushed more and more and told to have more and more babies. I wanted 5. I wanted 5 myself. But after fainting, Steve said, we're done with 2. That's it. No more. He said, I can't handle you fainting anymore. And I said, you're not the one fainting. And he said, but I'm watching it and going through it, and I can't handle watching you faint. It's painful. It's painful to watch you faint and see you go through this. So in the future, we're making some changes. I'm probably going to avoid that area where the curb starts, for one. I'm going to make sure I go to crosswalks, not just go in that section. We bought Sammi a gentle leader. That's so she won't pull me. It doesn't hurt. When we lived in Pennsylvania 20 years ago, we had 2 big dogs, a golden retriever and a black lab, and I was able to walk both of them with no issues. And I cannot walk these 2 dogs. I thought I could walk one, and I'm beginning to wonder if I can even walk one anymore. I could walk probably Sierra because she, even though we walk at a fast pace, she doesn't pull me like that. She's on a mission. She goes straight to her walk. So we're going to do the gentle leader. I may take a walking stick, although I don't know that that would help. That could actually make it worse. Steve said to go slower because I was walking quite fast. I was so proud of myself getting in a good brisk walk. He said to walk slower, that he purposely walks slower and pays attention. Now, I don't know. I thought I was paying attention. I knew the curb was there. I think... maybe my balance is off as it gets off as you age. And when she jerked me, I didn't expect it. I relaxed because I was close to home. And I had walked that way many times before and never had an issue. So I never ever saw it coming. Never saw it coming. The other time I fell was when I was walking Sammy. It was in the neighborhood. I was walking fast behind Steve. We're walking very fast because it was freezing. It was January. And he had just passed a root in the trail. You don't expect to see a tree root in the trail. No, not at all. A planned trail. And he had walked over it. And I walked right into it. And again, I think my shoe hooked onto that root. And I kind of fell into the fall because I saw it. And I kind of fell into it on my side. And I didn't get hurt at all, except my ankle did start hurting a month later, and it still hurts to this day, but I didn't break any bones. So I think the positive that I'm taking out of this is that I didn't break any bones. I didn't break any bones, and overall, I'm recovering, and I think that maybe is because I do exercise and walk and I am healthy and don't drink. We gave up drinking. I think it's been 3 years. So I do watch a doctor who is in Billy, and I always forget his name. I'll put it on the screen. He talks about falls and precautions. He says to always wear your glasses at night when you get up to go to the bathroom. I actually don't. My glasses are now getting a little bit outdated. I need to get a new pair. And switching from the contacts to the glasses, I'm thinking that's probably a big thing, bigger than I realized. Because when Steve got his cataract surgery, I asked the doctor if he could get one reading lens and one distance lens. And he said no, because his brain hasn't been trained. So then when I fell, I thought, well, if my brain is trained like that, how is it trained to go back to glasses? It seems like it would be trained to quickly change to glasses. So the fact that I was wearing glasses that day, that may have contributed. That may have contributed. So you never see an accident coming. There are precautions. I'm always someone I'm always a person who tries to plan and take precautions. I think like Sammy, we're going to try work on training her because she's been getting a little bit crazy. She's always been aggressive since we brought her home. We visited her before we got her, and she wasn't aggressive there, but as soon as she got home, she was very aggressive from day one. I talked to her breeder about it, and she said, my babies aren't aggressive, but she's been aggressive. So we're going to have to work on training her a bit, training her that she's not the aggressive one, that she's, that she can't get what she wants just because she's a pampered princess. She says, really, Mom, I'm going to get what I want. I'm going to get what I want because I'm a pampered princess. But no, she started to beg at dinner time, and she's getting quite aggressive with it. So we're going to start putting her in her pen or putting on a muzzle. We have a muzzle. When she does bite, she bites. Sometimes doesn't break skin, but she should be biting. See right here, she's like, no, I don't bite. That's not me. I don't bite. We've just never had a dog. Well, I think when Sierra came home with us 14 and a half years ago, she used to almost push me down the stairs. She slept upstairs in our bedroom in a cage, I believe. And I would get up and let her out, and she would wait till I went downstairs, and she'd kind of shove me, kind of push me. And I almost fell down the stairs a few times, and they were kind of steep stairs at our last house. And I was very, very nervous. And I had to train her to go down the stairs first. So I trained her because I was so nervous about falling down those stairs. And then she actually did hurt me. After I had my colonoscopy, the doctors did something where I was, I don't know what they did, but I was walking uncomfortably, and she saw it, and she jumped up on me and pulled a muscle in my lower back. That took probably 6 months to heal because I couldn't afford physical therapy at the time. Yeah, this healthcare thing has been an issue my entire life, basically. Even when we have healthcare, we can never afford to use it. And people keep saying America is the best country in the world. You pay thousands a month for healthcare that you can't even afford to use. Can't go on vacations. Although we did go to Columbus, we go on cheap vacations where we get the hotel free, and basically it's gas and go to parks, which I'm still working on those videos. I did post the video at Providence Canyon, and I'm thinking I was walking her, video recording, and there was deep grooves in the trail. I didn't fall then. So I don't know. Are you much more cautious when you're out of your own environment? Do you just relax when you're at home? Because I should have fallen then. That was probably stupid to be recording, walking her and walking in these grooves. We also walked along the river walk. Didn't fall there. Oh, and every morning I took her down, what was it? We were on the 4th floor, 3 flights of stairs because the air conditioner wasn't working in the hallway in the elevator. And the elevator wasn't working. So I walked her. No, I carried her. She wouldn't walk downstairs. I carried her down 3 flights of steps and never fell, tripped, or anything. Every day I carried her down 3 flights of steps. Never had an issue. So I'm telling you, I feel like you just relax around home and think, oh, it's home. I'm comfortable. I'm safe. And that's when accidents happen. That's when accidents happen. I think when you're somewhere else, your guard is up and you're alerted and you think, oh, maybe there's a little danger here or there, and something to consider. So yeah, I'm gonna take some more precautions because falling can be deadly. A lot of people have died. Trump's wife died falling down the steps. There was that famous staircase murder on, I think, Netflix or something, where that wife died falling down the steps. Yes. Now, not really related, but not really related. I just found out that a longtime YouTuber who we watched and had not seen in a while. Hi, Sammy. Okay. I just found out a YouTuber who we watched for a while, but we haven't seen in a while, died recently. Norm from Tina and Norm. This is our retirement. They lived in Canada. She still lives in Canada. They moved from the UK and talk about retirement and traveling. And Norm unexpectedly died about a month ago when he had open heart surgery and died on the table. She didn't give a lot of details. I'm thinking maybe it was the widowmaker. I don't really know, but he just turned 70. And when I fell and I thought, wow, I could have died. If I hit my head just right, you could die instantly. When I see these videos of all the icemen grabbing people and slamming them on concrete, I don't know. I know how dangerous falls are because, like I said, I would hit my head with my pregnancies, and my heart just stops when I see that. And I think one of these poor people is going to die, and you don't even know if they're an American or not. But when I saw that Norm died, you know, we think about aging and we think about the value of life. And I told Steve, you know, I really wish he could retire. I mean, we might end up homeless if he did because we were paying for Cobra and he was on Medicare in the time period when he lost his job and before he found a new one. And that was just draining our retirement quickly. But I told him by the time we do retire, even when we're both on Medicare, everybody thinks, wow, I can't wait till I'm on Medicare. It's going to be like at least $1,000 a month for the two of us to be on Medicare. That's not affordable. $1,000 a month? We're not going to be making that much money. I tell him maybe we need to start living now. Of course, he's working all the time and doesn't have much vacation, but I said maybe we need to do the things we want to do now. Because who knows? Tomorrow's not promised. Tomorrow's not promised. And here's one of my Be Kind shirts. What is it? In a world where you can be anything, be kind. Do you want to be on the side of history where you were kind? Or you want to be on the side of history where you thought nobody should eat or have health insurance? What do you think, Sammy? You want to be on the Be Kind? She's been so sweet since I fell. So sweet. Oh, I also am letting her out by herself in the yard now. I was afraid she was going to get in trouble, but now I'm letting her run around by herself to try to get some of this energy out. I think she has way too much energy. She's very similar to the Border Collie, which is why Steve wanted to get her. And I've posted a lot of her beautiful pictures and her dancing on her hind legs. And I Googled that and it said, that's torturing your dog and not good for a dog. And I was like, I didn't teach her that. She just started doing it one day. She just started dancing and I started taking pictures of her. So she's agile like the Border Collie. They can do a lot of tricks and be in pet shows if you took the time to train them. So I don't know, maybe I need to start working with her and getting some of her energy out. She has a lot of energy. She's not a lazy dog that just lays around. She always wants excitement in her life. I thought she'd keep me in good shape, making me get out there walking her all the time, that I'd have to get out and walk. I didn't know that she was gonna be the end of me. That she's the one that's making me fall, you know, because at first I was concerned and I was like, wow, you know, am I getting that old? But if I didn't have her, I would not have fallen. I would not have fallen. So she's a good 90% of it. And then again, maybe the shoes, maybe the glasses, I'm sure the curb had a lot to do with it being higher than it should be for one. Take care of yourself, and I hope everybody's staying safe. And you have any advice for me as your age, send it my way. And this doesn't hurt at all. My neck actually hurt more, the back of my neck, so I've been putting heat on it, which I was surprised the back of my neck would hurt. But I was like, you never know what you're gonna hurt when you fall. You never know what actually got hurt. So until I see you again, take it easy.